After Jungkook's unsettling warning on the balcony, Hwan had a hard time concentrating. Her mind kept drifting back to the strange encounter and the way his words had sent shivers down her spine. She shook her head, forcing herself to focus. "You're the CEO, Hwan. You can't let yourself get distracted by some random janitor." Deciding that fresh air hadn't helped, she opted for a strong cup of coffee. Grabbing her purse, she left her office and made her way to the private CF located inside the building. As she reached the CF, she caught a glimpse of someone moving across the hall. It wasn't Jungkook, it was someone else. A tall figure with bright, expressive eyes and a warm, disarming smile. He wore the same janitor's uniform as Jungkook, but there was something different about him. Something equally familiar and equally unsettling. Her steps slowed as their eyes met across the lobby, and just like before, that same electric jolt shot through her body, leaving her breathless. He froze, too, his smile faltering slightly as he stared at her. Who is he? Hwan wondered, her heart pounding. This couldn't be a coincidence. First Jungkook and now him. She didn't believe in coincidences, not when her werewolf senses were practically screaming at her. "Hosek, Miss Song," a cheerful voice greeted her suddenly, snapping her out of her thoughts. Hwan blinked and realized the man was now standing just a few feet away, his bright smile back in place. "Hosek, you're the CEO, right?" he asked, scratching the back of his neck awkwardly. "Hosek, wow, it's really cool to meet you in person. I've seen you on TV a lot." Hwan raised an eyebrow, her CEO mark slipping into place. "Hwan, and you are Hosek." "Hosek, I'm new here. Just started a few days ago," he said, offering a small bow. Hosek. The name echoed in her mind, but it didn't explain why she felt like she knew him or why her wolf was reacting so strongly to him. "Hwan, well, Hosek, I hope you're adjusting to your new job," she said, keeping her tone professional. Hosek, "Oh, yeah, everyone's been really nice. Especially Jungkook. He's been showing me around," said with a grin. At the mention of Jungkook's name, Hwan's eyes narrowed slightly. "Hwan, you know Jungkook?" "Hosek, yeah, we've known each other for a while. We go way back," Hosek said casually. Hwan's instincts flared again. Something about the way he said it felt off, like there was more to the story than he was letting on. But before she could press him further, Hosek's expression shifted. His smile softened, and for a brief moment, he looked almost concerned. "Hosek, are you okay, Miss Song? You look a little tense," he asked gently. Hwan blinked, caught off guard by the unexpected question. "Hwan, I'm fine. It was just a busy day." Hosek. "Right. Well, don't forget to take care of yourself. Even CEOs need a break sometimes," Hosek said, his tone light but sincere. Hwan stared at him, unsure how to respond. Why did he sound like he actually cared? And why did her wolf feel like it was practically vibrating in his presence? Before she could say anything else, Hosek gave her a small wave. "Hosek, see you around, Miss Song," he said with a wink, and then he turned and walked away, leaving Y or N standing in the middle of the lobby, more confused than ever. As Hosek disappeared down the hallway, Y or N let out a shaky breath. First Jungkook and now Hosek, two janitors who shouldn't have made any impact on her, and yet they had. Her mind was racing, trying to make sense of it all. Could they be my mates? She shook her head, dismissing the thought before it could fully form. No, that was impossible, wasn't it? But deep down, Y or A knew that her wolf had already recognized the truth. And if she was right, things were about to get a whole lot more complicated. As he walked away from Y or N, Hosek clenched his fists, struggling to keep his emotions in check. He had felt it, the same overwhelming pull that Jungkook had described. There was no doubt about it now. She was their mate, and if she was already sensing something, it was only a matter of time before things spiraled out of control. Hosek, Jungkook's not going to like this, he muttered under his breath, his heart pounding with a mix of excitement and dread. Because one thing was clear, they had found her, and now there was no turning back. The day had been exhausting. Between the overwhelming paperwork, unexpected encounters, and her wolf instincts being on high alert, Y-Oin felt like she needed a break. She didn't grab her coffee, as she was so much in Boy's thoughts, and she headed out of the building. It was a quiet, cozy spot that she often visited when she needed to clear her head. The dim lighting, soft jazz music, and the aroma of freshly brewed coffee usually helped her relax. But as she walked toward the entrance, she suddenly stopped in her tracks. Two men were standing near the entrance, deep in conversation. And just like before, YN's wolf reacted instantly. One of the men was tall, broad-shouldered, and radiated quiet authority. He had sharp, intelligent eyes and an air of calm confidence that made him stand out, even in a crowd. The other man was smaller, with dark eyes and a cold, unreadable expression. He leaned casually against the wall, but there was something about him that felt dangerous. As if sensing her presence, both men turned to look at her at the same time. Their eyes locked, and Y-N felt that same electric jolt that she experienced with Jungkook and Hosek. Her wolf stirred inside her, growling softly. "It's happening again," she thought, her heart racing. The taller man was the first to speak. "Namjoon, Miss Song? What a surprise," he said, his voice deep and smooth. Y-N blinked, trying to keep her expression neutral. "Y-N, do I know you? Yoonji, we've seen you around." The shorter man, Yoonji, replied in a low, quiet voice. His gaze was sharp, as if he was studying her. Something about his tone made Y-N feel like he wasn't just talking about seeing her in the building. "Y-N, what are you doing here?" "Namjoon, just grabbing some coffee," Namjoon said with a polite smile. "Namjoon, you?" Y-N hesitated. Something about them felt off, but she couldn't exactly accuse them of anything without sounding paranoid. Y-N, same long day. Yoonji tilted his head slightly, his dark eyes narrowing, as he observed her. Yoonji, you look like you've had a lot on your mind. YN's wolf moved at the comment, sensing the hidden meaning behind his words. They know something, she realized. But what? Before she could respond, Namjoon stepped forward slightly, his expression calm but serious. Namjoon, you should be careful, Miss Song. Sometimes, things aren't always what they seem. YN's eyes widened. YON, is that supposed to be a threat? Namjoon smiled faintly. Namjoon, not at all. Just friendly advice. Yoonji chuckled softly, the sound low and almost sinister. Feeling increasingly uneasy, YON decided it was time to leave. YON, I'll keep that in mind, she said coldly, walking away without looking back. But as she walked down the street, she could feel their eyes on her, and deep down, she knew that this wasn't the last time she would see them. As YON disappeared around the corner, Namjoon let out a quiet sigh. Yoonji, she knows, Yoonji said, his voice calm but laced with tension. Namjoon nodded. Namjoon, not everything, but she's starting to sense it. Yoonji's eyes darkened. Yoonji, that could be a problem. Namjoon, we'll handle it, but for now, we need to keep our distance. Yoonji, and what about the others? Have they noticed her yet? Yoonji asked as Namjoon's jaw tightened. Namjoon, Jungkook and Hosek already have. It's only a matter of time before the rest of us do too. Yoonji was silent for a moment, his expression unreadable. Yoonji, she is our mate, he said finally. Namjoon didn't respond, but the tension in his shoulders spoke volumes. Deep down, he knew that Yoonji was right and that meant things were about to get even more complicated. By the time YON got home, her mind was racing. First Jungkook, then Hosek, and now Namjoon and Yoonji. 4 men, all of whom had triggered the same overwhelming reaction in her. This can't be a coincidence, she thought, pacing her living room restlessly. Her wolf growled softly, restless and agitated. It was as if her instincts were trying to tell her something important. But what? And why did she feel like she was being drawn into something much bigger than she realized? YON took a deep breath, trying to calm herself. She needed answers. And if her instincts were right, the only way to get them was to confront the men who had turned her world upside down. Later that night, YON tossed and turned in bed, unable to sleep. Her mind was a whirlwind of thoughts, and her wolf wasn't helping. It had been growling and pacing inside her since the encounters with Jungkook, Hosek, Namjoon and Yoonji. 4 of them. It's the same electric pull, the same overwhelming instinct to get closer. But why? They might be your mates, her wolf whispered softly. YN's eyes snapped open, her heart pounding. No, that can't be true. She had always known that she might have a mate or more than one since rare wolves sometimes did, but she had never imagined it would be like this. The idea seemed impossible, yet her wolf was restless, as if it knew something she didn't. She sat up in bed, running a hand through her hair. Her thoughts drifted back to their eyes, the intensity in Jungkook's gaze, the warmth in Hoseok's smile, the quiet authority in Namjoon's voice, and the dangerous edge in Yoonja's expression. Why do they feel so familiar? Why? Oen sighed and flopped back onto the pillows, staring up at the ceiling. Sleep wasn't going to come easily tonight. After a restless night, why Oen somehow made herself fall asleep the next morning. Why Oen decided she needed a distraction.